but
Hmm.
we'll see. Anyway, let's do the tier list.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so do you want me to um stream the tier list, or how do
Yeah, I
you
think
want
if
this
you
to work?
share your screen on Discord, that would probably be
Okay,
the best, so I can just see it. It's like I think just visually it might be good to see where things are going.
yeah,
Yeah, perfect.
awesome. So we have five different tiers. We have borderline
Hmm.
untouchable. This is only going to be below Koulibaly. We have
Yep.
break the bank. This is going to be like the teams. This better be like a good trade offer if we're getting rid of this guy.
Yeah,
We'll
like
have
multiple first round picks, good young players type of thing.
yeah. Sad but understandable. I'd be sad to see them leave, but like I'd get it why they would trade him. Get
Hmm.
them off my team, self-explanatory, and then shouldn't be in the NBA.
Yeah,
So
just does not belong at all.
I'm just gonna start with put Bilal up to borderline untouchable
Yes,
because
I'm with you.
they're not trading him. They're not trading whoever they draft
Yeah,
coming up. They're just not doing it. So
no.
next up is Patrick Ball. So what do you think about
So
Patrick Ball?
I personally would put Patrick Baldwin like I don't know how to feel about Patrick Baldwin because he has potential and
This is why
he's
I had an
shown that he can
indifferent
do
tier
some
for.
things. Yeah, I think he'd be good for indifferent, but it's like I think he's probably sad but understandable. Where like in my eyes, he has the physical tools to be a good shooter in the NBA, but it's like whenever I watch him, there's just something missing from him. It's like
Yeah,
he
I'm gonna
doesn't
put in
have
an
that
indifferent tier.
factor. Okay,
I'm gonna
yeah,
put
that
indifferent,
sounds good. I would put him in
indifferent,
indifferent then
and then I'm
because
gonna
it's
put get
just
them off.
sure. I just like I don't care one way or another if he's on this team or not. He's
Yeah,
not impactful enough for me to really like have a big opinion on him. If he develops well, fine. If he doesn't, it really doesn't matter for our team long term. That's most of these players, honestly.
yeah. I mean, there are some that are like we should trade them. Jared Butler. I would personally put Jared Butler in sad but understandable. He's been really good, but I would get it if they got an offer for him and decided
Yeah,
to trade him. I think
I would be
I
sad.
don't think it matters. I think he'd be on the team. Uh, along at least for the next 3 years, or at least for the
Yeah,
next 2 years. But you
I
know,
mean, I view him like I used to view Jordan Godin. Like he's a good player. He's nothing crazy. Like he's fun to have on the team. He's good vibes. You like rooting for him.
yeah,
But like if he leaves, it's really not going to change anything.
yeah,
He like well, you can find decent point guards kind of everywhere now, and it's like the stuff he's good at is like the stuff that a lot of people are good at. He's good at shooting. He's good at like taking care of the ball, which I guess I might be a little spoiled because we have Tyus Jones, who's the best in the NBA at taking care of the ball, but
yeah. But Jared
he's
Butler
fun
has
to
still been
watch.
his very good. I remember
Yes.
one of the games it was like a Jared Butler or Sean Holmes pick and roll, and it was like unstoppable somehow. So you know, but Jared
Yeah, he's one of
Butler's
those players that like you never are gonna think about as being like a good player, but you're glad to have him on your team. He's gonna have fun plays. He's gonna make good decisions. Like
yeah,
just a smart
could
player.
have a nice pick
I
and roll.
like him
If
a
he could
lot.
get his shooting up, he could really carve a rollout in the NBA. Um,
Yeah,
Obviously, I've seen him miss short on way too many things. Johnny Davis. I know we're kind of different about Johnny Davis. I would
yeah,
personally put him in sad but understandable. I actually do like Johnny Davis, but if you want to,
yeah.
I know you're not a huge fan.
I'm done with Johnny Davis. I'm gonna be honest. He's even playing worse this year than he did last year at this time. Like, come on, he had like a 20-something point game last year in April. We were all like, oh, we might do something, and then he went on and didn't do shit the next year.
So
So I
my
don't know what's wrong with Johnny Davis. I think he's just broken, and I'm ready to move on. I
my
think he's
vibe on
like,
Johnny Davis is he came into this league. He shouldn't have gone 10 first of all, but he came into this
no,
league as a hustle guy, as a guy who's going to play defense. And over the past 2 years, he has kind of shown that's what he's good at. I mean, he's getting into the passing lanes, being a little bit of a pest. It's small sample size, but I think it's enough to kind of, especially when you're on this tanking team, like we might as well throw him out there one more year and kind of see if he can, you know, maybe the offense gets a little better, or maybe he really becomes a pest and his confidence gets up. I mean, he was making layups the other day, which is a is a better start. But
yeah. I mean, I
I would
don't think it's a
understand get
bad
them off my
idea to
team,
keep
but
him
I would
around.
personally put them in sad but understand.
I don't think it's a bad idea to keep him around. I don't think keeping him would hurt the team, especially at the position we are now. But to me, it's like it's been 2 years at this point. I was always an advocate of give Johnny Davis more time. We can't evaluate him just on 1 year. I think 2 years is a fair enough sample size to be like, I just haven't seen it. Where like, even if there's a player who has potential, like like Jalen Green was bad for a long time. Not Johnny Davis bad, of course, but like I always saw potential in a player like that. Where Johnny Davis, like, he can't shoot. He's marketed as a hustle defender that can get to the rim, and it's like there's a lot of those guys in the NBA, and he's kind of undersized for that. His wingspan's not crazy. His defense is fine. It's nothing to write home about. If he suddenly develops into a great offensive player, that, I mean, obviously is going to have value. I just don't see the progress from him. I just kind of see like a similar player where than what I saw last year, you know.
Well, I
But
think
maybe he needs to develop a little more. I'm not. I'm pretty low on Johnny Davis these days,
I will.
honestly.
I'll put him in indifferent then.
I,
I
I
feel like
I'm
that's in the
happy with
middle
indifferent. Yeah,
of
yeah,
both of them. Denny Avdija, I would say break the bank. I
yeah.
think
Break the
the
bank.
Wizards have to build around him at least somewhat
Yes,
as like a
yes.
top 3 option in the future.
But I
It
don't.
seems like it'll be his role, but what were
But
you
I
gonna
don't
say?
see like if a team comes in with a huge package, like of course we're doing it.
Yeah,
With Bilal, it's like, do we do that? With
yeah,
Denny, it's like we do that.
yeah.
Like Denny's old enough at this point where we can kind of see the player he is, which is great. He's a great player. He would I think he would find a home on every single NBA team and start
As a
on a lot of
starter,
them.
yes.
Yes, yes. But like the intangibles that Bilal has at this point, this young, you just cannot trade him. He was supposed to be a low, like low floor, high ceiling player, and his floor is already pretty high.
Yeah,
He's productive. He
he's
can
already a
play.
very
He
good
can't
3 and
really
D.
start, but he can definitely come off the bench, which is way better than what you can say about a lot of Wizards rookies.
Yeah.
Um,
So, but Denny break the bank. I still think he has 20 point per game potential.
Me too.
Um, I
I
think
think he could
he
be an
could
all
be a
star.
guy. Yeah, yeah. I think that his absolute ceiling can be an All Star appearance. Will he get there? Who knows? But
Yeah.
Anthony Gill. So
I
Anthony
honestly,
Gill's
I want to put him
interesting.
sad.
Anthony Gill, yeah, that's what I was gonna say too, because he's such a leadership guy, and he's been on the team for like a long time now.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think
think
him
I
and
would be
Denny are the
sad if he
longest
was
tenured
not on the
players.
team anymore. It was like Robin
Yeah.
Lopez.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great comparison. That's the exact type of player he reminds me of. Where like he's even less productive than Robin Lopez was, but like he's always good vibes. He's been around the NBA for so long. Guys like that really like you don't stay around the NBA this long if you don't understand your role perfectly and what you need to be doing. So he's the perfect guy to come up to Bilal and be like, "Hey man, you don't need to do too much.
Yeah,
Like I know you're excited, I know you want to do this, but like you really need to focus on this, that, whatever." Like he knows how to get to the floor and play. He's always gotten play time, even on some of these good Wizards
he was
teams.
starting like a few
Yeah,
days ago.
yeah. Which like but
He's that
I
guy that
think
comes in and shifts the energy of the game, even though
yes,
he's not good at
yes,
basketball. He comes in and
yes,
shifts the energy, which is
yes.
and
I also think him starting after coming off the bench so long like really encapsulates his role in this team. Like he does whatever's asked from them, no questions asked, and like honestly does it decently. Like he is great at knowing where he needs to be. He's great at not overextending. He's never gonna foul too much. He's never gonna be like a super net negative on the floor. Like he's not gonna do anything crazy, but he's not gonna completely lose you the game by being out there.
yeah,
Which
and
honestly it's a great skill for a lot of the young guys to learn. Johnny Davis could learn a lot from him about
yeah,
not throwing a game.
and I actually think he is like and I don't know. I'm a little bit higher on Johnny Davis than probably most people, but
Hmm.
I think that he has learned a lot from Anthony Gill
I
because
think
when
so too.
Johnny Davis is out there, it's gone from a complete net negative on the floor to okay, he really just doesn't do much. Like
Hmm.
it's more like he's not a negative. He's not a positive, but he's not a negative. So
No,
baby steps.
yeah, and Johnny Davis will always come out there and give you some hustle plays and keep that energy up, which I
Yeah,
appreciate from him.
he's a
Um,
decent rebound
yeah, yeah, he's
for his
okay
size.
for a guard. Uh, do you want to do Tyus Jones?
Yeah, what I was gonna say about Anthony Gilder real quick is
Oh yeah,
anytime
sorry.
there's a Wizards timeout, he's always the first one off the bench, like high fiving the
Yes,
guys. That's what I love.
and I think that type of stuff matters a lot, especially when you're trying to set a new culture on a team like this. And I think what a lot of people don't take in consideration is a lot of the time a team's leader is not going to be their best player. For the Bucks, a lot of the time Brooke Lopez has been their leader, even though
Yeah.
he's not their best player, and like Draymond and that type of stuff. And I think Anthony Gill's that type of player for the Wizards, who like respected vet who can speak up in the locker room and people will listen, but at the same time he's not going to try to take too much.
And
He's going to
Taj
make
Gibson was
not
like
going to
that
make it
last
his
year as
team.
well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's same reason Tosh Gibson still has a job, you know.
Yeah. All right, Tyus Jones. I would put Tyus Jones personally in sad but understandable.
Yeah, I
Tyus Jones is having a career year,
mhm.
but I mean, what is he, 28? He's just not going to be in the long-term future of the Wizards, most likely.
Mhm.
And it's something that, a contender will bite on, if not sign him straight up in free agency.
Yeah,
So,
I would. My ideal scenario for Tyus Jones is he re-signs to the Wizards to start, and like for a decent deal, maybe we overpay him a bit. It's fine. He has like a nice little start to the season, and then we trade him at the trade deadline for like a first or some young guys to like a contender where he can shine.
yeah.
I really think like I think a lot of people don't really can take in consideration how much the already established people can do for people learning their role.
Hmm.
And I think a big reason why Jordan Poole's assists have gone up and his turnovers have gone down, and his comfort level has increased out there, is Tyus Jones. I think Tyus Jones is really there, telling him like, I think in those big moments where you can tell he's a little flustered or whatever, Tyus Jones comes up. He's like, hey man, like you just gotta chill out a bit. Like, Tyus Jones really knows how to take care of the ball, not turn it over, not really like push things too far. He's really good with timing and positioning, and I think those are all things that Jordan Poole still has a lot to learn in those areas, and I think Tyus Jones can be the one to teach him how to do
Yeah.
that.
And Jared
But
Butler as well. He's helping Jared Butler
yeah,
as well.
yeah, for sure. But I don't want to hang on to him too long until he loses all the value, and then we're kind of stuck paying a guy like the Wizards always do.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be too mad if he went to another team this year in the free agency, but I would love to have him back for sure. He's been a great player to have on the Wizards. He's another
Career
great
highs
torture
across the
guy.
board.
Yeah, and I mean he's the top player in the NBA with assist to turnover ratio. Like
Yeah.
that's that's always nice. I always love watching Tyus Jones. Like he's never gonna do anything too flashy. He's always gonna take care of the ball. He's always gonna make the right pass. Every time he's open, he's 100% hitting that three. I have no doubt about his shooting ability.
Well, he's
It's
shooting
nice
over
just having a guy
40%, right?
doing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's shooting really well. Just really nice to have a guy that does all the little things right.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tyus actually, like you said, will resign because, and you were
Hmm.
talking about this, um, somewhere around the trade deadline after they didn't trade him, and you were like, "There's not really many places that Tyus can go where he could start."
Yeah.
It's like the Wizards, and then maybe one of the LA teams. Like, it's like just kind of up
Yeah,
in
I
the
mean,
air. There's not a lot of.
I think there's a lot of places he could start, but I don't think there's a lot of teams that would trade enough for him. Like, I think he
Well,
could stay
that
in
who he would
Minnesota.
sign in free agency. I
Yeah,
think Mike Conley would still start.
maybe.
Tyus
I
Jones
don't
kind of
know.
reminds me of Mike Conley, actually. It's
Yeah,
kind of
he
that like,
does. Yeah, I guess Mike has the like. I think Tyus Jones would. I think they're like kind of interchangeable on that team for sure.
yeah.
I mean,
Mike just
Phoenix would
has more
love to have
experience.
Tyus Jones. I mean, imagine Phoenix with
Phoenix,
Tyus
yeah.
Jones. They would.
Well, are you
I mean,
bringing
they would be
Beal, or
so
are
much
you?
better.
I don't know. Tyus Jones, Beal, Booker. Like,
I
I don't
mean,
know
you said
about that front
Booker.
three, but their
The defense
defense.
would suck, but their
Booker
defense
can kind
sucks
of
right
lock in on
now.
defense, though. I think
Yeah, I think
if he
Booker could
had
play
to.
small
Same with
forward.
Beal. Beal can
Yeah,
if Beal had to, he would lock in on defense. He just never
yeah, yeah,
did on
yeah.
the Wizards because
The,
had to score 30.
that's the thing. Like people really underrate Beal's defense. That was his thing coming in. He was a defender that shot threes,
Yeah,
and like you don't forget how to play defense.
yeah. It's just
Like
an effort thing at that
it's
point.
more yeah, it's mostly an effort thing. It's an effort positioning, and like one thing that's really challenging about defense is you have to be in control of your body at all times. Because if you do like one little, even if you extend your arm a tiny bit too far, the offensive player is going to get free throws. And
Yeah,
Beal's good about not biting on stuff and like being patient. And like I think he's played decent defense for Phoenix.
yeah. And
But
I just remember, like last year when we had a few games. I'm thinking of the Bulls games, which is funny, the Battle of Mid, where it would be coming down to the wire, and Beal said, "No, I got DeRozan. I'm guarding DeRozan,"
yeah,
and
yeah.
like that. He's so fine.
Um, but I just hate seeing Booker or Beal play point guard. I do not like it. I've never liked shoot first point guards, and that's what both of them
Yeah.
are.
I will
Um,
say Booker has gotten a lot better at the point guard position,
yes,
and he should definitely be their guy if they had to choose between one of those two.
yeah,
But
yeah, and maybe all four of them there'd be like Tyus would just never have the ball because it's like one of them always has the ball. That team's just weird to me. I never was too impressed by it. I never understood why they wanted Beal that much. Like I really thought that Beal should have gone to Miami. I think that was his best spot, but Miami just didn't want to play ball, and
yeah,
Phoenix did.
Hey, I'm happy with it. They got,
I'm happy with the return. Yeah, I think that was the best return that was out there for Beal with the no trade clause.
yeah. All right. Just because we're at 40 minutes, we should move on to
Yeah,
the
let's
next
move on.
player, which is
Quickly.
Justin Champagny. Indifferent.
Completely indifferent. I don't care about him at all.
He's been on the team for what, like 5 days?
I have nothing to say about Justin Champagny.
Yeah, I mean he's been all right in the minutes he's got, but he's fighting for an NBA job, whether it's the
Yeah,
Wizards or with someone else.
yeah.
Corey Kispert. I had him at sad but understandable. I would put him up to break the bank, honestly.
I think so. I think his past couple weeks have really pushed his trade value up a lot. I think for a team like the Wizards, trade value gets kind of murky because
Yep.
it's not really just like 1-to-1. Like I think his upside is a lot higher than some of the returns they could get back for him,
Yeah.
and he's still super young, so you might as well just keep him and see what you get. And
Yeah.
he's very, very coachable. Even under Scott Brooks, he was improving. Like this guy knows what it takes to be good in the NBA. He puts the work in. He hustles, and like I I've been very, very impressed with Kispert recently, and I've had to reevaluate him. I think his ceiling is a lot higher than I previously thought. I think he
No,
could
I
be
do
a
too. I think
very
this
good
this year
offensive player.
he's been very very good, and
Yeah,
I mean it could be in a six man role. It could be in a role where he's starting. He's taking a lot of off screen shots like a Duncan Robinson or someone like that, Tyler Hero.
that's my favorite part about him is he's so versatile that his gameplay can change from game to game. Where like you know he can take more of the offensive burden and shoot more shots and feel comfortable doing it, but he can also be that guy that just kind of sits in the corner and takes the occasional open three, and he's always going to make those.
Yeah.
And like so wherever you need him he can fit. He's big enough where he's not a complete negative on defense always. He's grown a lot defensively this year, I personally think. Watching him, I'm not immediate like watching him the past couple years, I was like just waiting for him to get blown by and dunked on or something like that. It happened every possession. He
Yeah.
was too slow to react to things. He
He's
never
too
was in the
slow.
right
He's too
spot.
small. Yeah.
And now he's moving his feet. He's getting to his spots. He's getting in between them and the rim, so they can't just easily get around him anymore. And like he's quick on defense, which is a big thing for a guy like that, where you're not known as an amazing defender. People are going to try and get at you. You need to be quick. You need to have good reflexes because you're going to get attacked a lot.
Yeah.
So I think if you can kind of get into that kind of similar thing where Sam Hauser did, where like you were this guy who could just get targeted over and over, and now you're actually a decent defender. Like you don't have to be anything amazing, but suddenly these bums that thought that they could just blow by you are like, oh shit, I'm getting stopped by Corey Kispert.
Yeah, I know. You don't want like. I remember I was listening to the Duncan Robinson podcast when he had one before he
Mm-hmm.
dropped it,
Oh,
and
yeah,
he
I
was
forgot
talking
he just
about
dropped it.
the 2020 NBA Finals, and he was talking about how LeBron would come down the floor and he'd point at Duncan Robinson and be like, "Get
Yeah.
him on me." That's like the worst feeling. I have to imagine that's the worst feeling as an NBA player. He's
I
just
mean,
like, man.
I played a lot of soccer. I was a defender, and I was not a very good defender. I was okay, but I just like didn't care that much about soccer, so I didn't put a ton of effort in. And like, but when people would like constantly get by me, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna lock in. Like, my pride is on the line. I'm not just gonna let this guy drive by me for free.
Yeah.
So I like seeing that kind of competitive spirit from players like Corey Kispert.
Kyle Kuzma. So for me, I would put him in sad but understand. But he's getting up
Yeah.
to that age. I don't know if you agree with that or you want to put him somewhere else. Like
So I think
this
Kyle
is where I
Kuzma
would
is a
put him.
weird player because I would also put him in sad but understandable. But I think in order to trade him, we need a haul. Like because he just signed a 4-year contract that declines and is already a steal in year one, and it's like this guy is not. He doesn't need to be the number one option on a team. He shouldn't be the number one option on a team, and like that's why he's enjoying the Wizards right now because he is. But I think Kyle Kuzma has a space on just about any NBA team. Honestly, he's super versatile. He's a decent defender. He's not bad.
He's not a good
Um,
passer.
he's not a good passer, but you don't need him to be a good passer.
Yeah.
Like he can be a Michael Porter Jr. type player. Like you're not going to pass a whole ton, but you can make the easy passes, and then you're going to make just about every shot you take. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with Kyle Kuzma's shot taking. His defense is fine, or shot making, sorry. And
I just think
I
he's a
think he
little
has a lot of value.
inconsistent.
Yeah, but
That's
nobody's
the
looking
one
for him to
knock
be
against.
the one
Yeah,
or two
no, I
guy,
agree.
and
Yeah.
I think it's fine to be inconsistent as the number three. Like Michael Porter Jr. honestly sucked offensively the whole finals run last year, besides a couple games in like Phoenix and stuff. but he didn't need to be that guy offensively, and he made shots when he really needed to, and his defense was fine. And he's a big reason why I don't think they would win without him. Like he's a big reason why they. I mean, okay, well this year maybe, but I think he's an important piece of that team. And I think Kyle Kuzma can play a kind of similar role. I don't think we're gonna get anything too crazy for him, but like if I could get like 2 first-round picks and a young guy, like I'm happy. And
So
I think that's a fair value for him.
so
Sad but
adding on to
understandable, I
that,
think.
look, because 2 first-round picks, that's a lot for Kyle
Yeah,
Kuzma, I think. So I don't know. Is this something that like okay, you can get Kuzma for less than you can get these two guys? Because if that's the case, then I would put him in sad but understand. Because in my opinion, Kuzma has less value than both Denny and at this moment for the Wizards. Maybe not for other teams, but for the Wizards.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it just depends on the criteria we're doing this off of, because it's like, is it their trade value or is it
This is how
how
we feel
how
about
we
them. I
feel?
think.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, I just think like I don't think a trade like the OG Anunoby trade is too crazy for Kuzma. Like I
Yeah, where
really
you get
think his
like two
value is
young
pretty
guys
high.
back.
Yeah, 2 young guys and like a pick or two, or
Yeah,
like one young
they
guy
got
and
like
two
a second, I
picks.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and like I think right now his value might be lower around the league, but
The
like
contract's only
his
gonna get
contract's
better.
just going to get better and better, exactly. And like he's already kind of seen, like, he had interest this year, we just never found a trade
Right.
that we liked enough. So it's not like there's teams are like, oh, Kyle Kuzma, gross. It's like, I think teams are looking at Kyle Kuzma and not going, oh, we can build our team around this guy and Kuzma, but more like this could be the trade that puts us over the top.
Yeah.
And I think
I'll
especially in
put
a
him
year
at
like
break the bank
this,
then.
okay, I think we could really get significant interest from teams like the Kings, who
Yeah.
had a disappointing season and need that little extra thing to push them over the hump. Like, I think he'd be great on like the Kings, the Cavs, like a lot of teams that really just need a little bit of offensive spark and someone to not be a complete
I'm
liability
just
on
so like
defense.
I'm so torn because like Kyle Kuzma does not make the Wizards anywhere near a contender. I mean, neither do any of
No,
these guys.
no.
But at the same time, like I'm gonna put him at the top of sad but understandable.
I mean, I think his value is higher than Kispert, for sure.
Really.
Yes.
Well, but his value to us as fans.
Okay. Well, because the
Because
way
that's
you
what
break
I'm
the
trying
bank
to
doesn't
think.
even really make that much sense, because that's just pure trade value. Like, because if it's about how we feel about them,
That's what I was thinking. Like it has. That's why I said it has to be a haul
true.
at the beginning.
Okay, we could do that. It has to be.
A haul or a good offer,
I mean,
a good
that's the
trade. I
exact
don't
same thing as
know.
break your bank.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it's just
So
like sad but understandable, and like,
we'll just keep it at this.
yeah,
I'll
break the
put
bank is
Kuzma up
fine.
here then.
I think that's fair. I think Kuzma belongs there because it's like, I think Wizards fans, ironically enough, are lower on Kuzma's trade value than it actually is,
Yeah,
because
which is
we're
a rare
exposed to
thing
all
for
of his
fans.
downsides all the time. And that matters a lot on a team like this that needs the number one option to not have those downsides.
Yeah,
Where realistically on a playoff team, those downsides aren't going to matter because that's not the role he's trying to fill.
yeah.
And I think in the role he's trying to fill, he would be good on just about every other team. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's going to be the
We're not gonna
all-around
talk
guy.
about
Get
Isaiah
Isaiah
Livers.
Livers the fuck out of here. That is the worst player in the NBA. He better not play a single minute for this goddamn team.
Yeah. Marvin Bagley. I'm a little indifferent on Marvin Bagley. He's gonna be here next year
Yeah,
no
I'm
matter
pretty
what.
indifferent. Yeah, I'm pretty indifferent.
Because of his contract. If they traded him, it'd be fine. I'm not like, oh, we need him off the team, but I'm kind of indifferent. I'm a little less indifferent. Gonna do
Yeah, I'm a
like
little lower on Marvin Bagley than I've seen a lot of reactions being, because like a lot of people are kind of overrating him. I think he's fine.
yeah,
I don't think he's
he's
gonna be here
fine.
long term. He's just gonna fill the center spot for a few years, like, and do okay. He's gonna be
Yeah.
fine. But I don't think
Uh,
he's gonna be anything crazy.
Eugene Omaru.
I
He's
would put
someone
him
I
in
think I
sad
put
just
sad.
because I love Gene, but I don't think he
He doesn't
has
move
trade
any
value at
needles.
all.
Or
I don't
yeah,
think he has a
exactly.
single trade value, but if he left today, I would personally
I
be
would be
sad.
sad. Yeah, that's why I would put him there. He's just such a good hustle guy, and
Yeah.
I love seeing him like match up against these huge dudes, like 6'6",
Yeah,
like
I don't have
trying his
much to say
best.
about him. He's a great motor guy. He's fun, really fun to watch, but like doesn't contribute that much.
Jordan Poole is a extremely interesting one because I know within
Yeah,
Wizards fans he'll range from get them off my team to borderline untouchable.
yeah.
So
I personally have Jordan Poole probably in my mind at the top of indifferent to the bottom of sad but understandable. Like this version of Jordan Poole, I'm very indifferent towards, but the potential interests me, but as a Wizards fan, I know better than to just look at the potential and ignore the reality.
Yeah,
And the reality right now is that Jordan Poole is a very inconsistent bench scorer that can sometimes take over games, but can also lose you games at the same time.
yeah. I would put him at sad but understandable because
I'm fine with that.
I've grown to like Jordan Poole over the last couple months, especially how he feels about DC, just trying to hype up the crowd
I
and
love
all
that.
that. So
I'm a sucker for people loving DC. Like if you say that you like DC and you want to help the city out, whatever. Like I'm always gonna be a fan of you.
and I'll always side with him over Draymond.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I fucking hate Draymond and I hate the Warriors in general, but mostly Draymond. And I think history is kind of validating Jordan Poole in that. And like, it's funny because it's so funny seeing Warriors fans beginning of the season to now. Beginning of the season, they're like, "Fuck that guy. Who needs Jordan Poole?" And now they're like,
All the lowlights
"That
being
Jordan
posted on
Poole guy
Reddit.
would be
But
real nice right now."
yeah, all
And
the
because
yeah, it's
Chris Paul's
been
been
radio silent
bad.
on Jordan Poole since he's been good
Yeah,
now.
funny how that works. I think the big thing is just like Chris Paul is not moving the needle for that team. And I think a lot of people thought he could,
I mean, I don't think
but
Jordan Poole is either, but I
no,
think that
but
team's just not a good team outside of
I
Harry.
agree with you. But I think Jordan Poole is more of a fan favorite, so they want him back. Where over here, like he doesn't have that because he hasn't done much, but he's saying the right things. He's pretty mature. Like all the hate he got for like not listening to the coach in a out of context clipped like 10-second video and all that stuff is fine. Like
Who we now know,
he's
looking back, that Wes Unseld maybe wasn't the very best motivator. So
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah. Because I think as of the Bucks game, Keefe officially has more wins, right, than
yeah,
Unseld. Yeah, it's like
in less time.
and yeah, and way less time. It's like Wes Unseld was okay, but he's like a guy to me who's like Steve Clifford. Like
Yeah,
he's fine, but he's not going to do much, and that's why you're seeing Steve Clifford moving into an off-season role. And
yeah,
I think Wes Unseld was kind of shafted because I think he did an okay job with the playoff aspiration teams. They just immediately were like, "Nah, we're going to tank." And I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like if you have Beal, and I get Beal didn't play for half the year, but that team probably should have made at least the play-in game.
Yeah,
It's good that they didn't
with
because they
Porzingis.
got Bilal, but they probably
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been very critical of Wes, but I'm one of those guys that's like coaching doesn't really matter that much. I think that team was never going to do anything no matter the coach.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, especially this team. This team's gonna be ass no matter what.
yeah, but the things I'm seeing under Keefe I really like, which is like increased defensive effort and all that. We talked about that a couple of
Yeah,
episodes ago, and that's just been growing. I was really happy with what I saw from that Bucks team after the game from like Kispert and Denny and everybody who were like, they were like, this is what we're working towards, and they're like, we got to take these small wins as like evidence that what we're doing has merit and like actually matters. And to me,
right.
I liked seeing that attitude of like, not like like yeah we won, but we only won whatever games. It's like this stretch of like, hey, we're playing better, and like having that kind of mentality of like, I want to own my play and I want to make sure that I'm doing myself justice when I'm out there on the floor and I'm like contributing. And it's been a while since we've had that pride
Yep.
for Wizards players. So I was really happy with that. And I just think it's cool to see Keefe put an emphasis on these games. I feel like under Wes Unseld is kind of the same thing under Steven Silas in Houston, where it's like, hey man, like don't worry, take your time, all this. And Brian Keefe, it's like, nah, I want to see you improve, or you're not going to get played.
Yeah,
Which I really like.
and it's kind of finally.
Yeah,
We have
right.
two left. Two kind of vets. Rashawn Holmes. I'm a little
I'm
indifferent on
indifferent.
him.
No, yeah,
He's
I don't really
been
care.
he's been like good, but he's 30.
Yeah,
Like if he's on the team next year, sure. If he's
yeah,
not, sure, whatever.
and he doesn't have a huge personality that makes him like him a lot, like
Yeah,
Eugene O'Murray or Anthony Gill.
yeah. And then Landry Shamet, I would put him at get them off my team. Not that Landry Shamet's a bad player. I actually like Landry Shamet, but they should trade him.
Me
He's
personally,
like,
I play wise and roster construction wise would keep him on there, but personally, just like mentality, I like him a lot. Uh, I like that he is trying really hard for the Wizards. It might be for his own career too, but you can tell like he cares when he's out there. He wants to
yeah,
play well. He's likes the team. He
he's a
seems like
good
he's fun
player.
to be
He's a
around.
good
He's
player.
good. But I
But
do
I
agree
wouldn't
that
put him.
like
I wouldn't put him in sad.
no,
Like I wouldn't be sad if he left, and I'm
no,
not
because
like
I would be like we
I.
should
I
trade him.
yeah. That's kind of my
Yeah,
thing.
we're
So
like he's kind of like
they're just
Tyus, where
terrible.
like he's contributing, but we should trade him. But unlike Tyus, like I don't have that connection to him as much.
Yeah. So there it is. There's
There it is.
the tier list. Any
I'm happy with
changes?
that.
I think I'm pretty happy with it. I think the
I'm
one
happy.
to change I would make is put Johnny Davis here.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah,
I I mean,
just because
I meant for you.
oh,
I would keep Johnny Davis right where he is personally. I'm
okay,
very indifferent about Johnny Davis. I look at him the way I look at a long line of Wizards draft picks, which is like missed on that one. Better hit the next.
yeah, yeah, go next.
Yeah.